Hey guys, what's going on? This is Leo. So today we're going to take a look at Bitcoin and I'm going to attempt to get an idea of where the market cycle top is going to be. Um, so we're going to start. Before I start, we're not financial advice, not a financial advisor. All right, so a little bit of housekeeping's out of the way. So what I have here is I strongly believe that Bitcoin is in a series of 1-2, 1-2, 1-2s on the large degree. So that means that that we still are waiting for a third, a third, and a third, and I think that's going to show up as a very extended third wave. Now, where that's going to take place, it's hard to say. It could, we could be on that cycle now where it's just going to keep going. But I'm going to operate under the assumption that the trend that we've been seeing after the halvings is going to continue. Now, I think that this cycle is lengthening because what I've done here, these vertical dotted lines represent the halving dates. And so what I've done is I've measured out from that date to the peak each time for Bitcoin. And what we found is that if we look here at the 413 day mark being the peak, and we multiply that by 1.2, that's how much longer the next cycle has taken. So, 413 days times 1.2 roughly gets us to that 497 day mark. And then the same thing here for 602 days, which would imply that the market cycle top for cryptocurrency is going to be around the end of January. That is January 24th of 2022. Interesting. So, that gives us kind of a range, right, based on previous price action. What we've seen in the past with these cycles of you get this rip up and then we get a pullback, rip up, pullback. So it's interesting, right? But let's see if we can get a little bit more confluence as to where we could be topping out at. Now, a very common strategy for traders to do is, you identify a channel, and then every time it comes back to the bottom of that channel, you buy, and then, you scalp out, and then you sell the top of the channel. So what I've done here, if we're looking at the blue line, the blue pitchfork, this is Andrew's pitchfork, and then each one of these lines is called a parallel. This line here would be your median line in the middle. Now you can see how well it's holding price action, right? So you can see, actually I'm going to hide these for just a moment. I don't normally hide them, so bear with me. It looks like TradingView has removed the rule to hide. Oh wait, is that it? Nope, that takes everything away. All right, well, just here, I'll do this. There we go. We can see it a little better now. So you can see how we peaked and it goes up almost to the parallel there, that dotted line, and then it kind of retraces. One of the rules with or guidelines with the Andrew's pitchfork is that you'll often see price action chop around the median line before moving on, which is what we saw here. Chopped around the median line, then it moved down to the low, and then we shot right back up. So I think it's holding price very well. You can see how it touched touched the lower end of that channel, touched it, came back and touched it, touched it. So it's holding it quite well indeed. And we've come up and we've touched that high of it. Now, question is where are we in relation to that? And where are we in relation to the parabolic trend lines? Let me see, where did I have that? Right there, I believe. So we didn't quite get to the top of the parabolic trend line, which is going to be these two white lines here. It's basically, it's a good way to put parabolic moves, give them some price structure. So if we look at the top of the channel here, we look at the top of this parabolic trend line. We look at the date here as to where we think that it will top out at roughly. That's putting a lot of resistance around the $100,000 mark. Not to mention $100,000 is a strong psychological level. So that puts a lot of credence on that the market cycle top will top around $100,000 in the end of January. What you do with that is your business. But it's strongly looking like that's going to be the case, unless this is turns up to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of a first, right, of the third wave. So what that would look like, if we come in here, let me see, okay. So if we're going to put in a 1, right, we put in a 2, 3, 4, 5, we could certainly do something like that. So I'm just going to move this over to here. I technically need to raise that degree, so we need to bump up to, let's see here. No, it's too high. Oh no, that's technically correct. I need to raise this one. Give me 1 second. I'm just catching up here. I've got to keep this organized, otherwise it gets confusing having all these different waves on here if they aren't labeled properly. Okay, so what that could look like is that we get a 1, 2, 3, 4 when we top out quotations around 100,000. That could be just the 1, right? Now we pull back for a little while for a 2, and then we get a third, right? That's when things get a little bit stupid. So that could be the start of the third wave, which is going to be very overextended if I'm right about this being a series of 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2s. That this would be a very extended third wave bringing us up. And that could break this trend of lengthening cycles because, a third wave is going to last longer. It's going to be much more violent and prolonged than a 1 wave would. So that's certainly possible. But it's looking more and more likely like we're going to have some sort of a top, whether it's a top to a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for a first wave, or it's going to be a market cycle top where, we get a bear market and then, somewhere around 2024, it ends and then we're off to new highs. So that's roughly what I'm looking at here on Bitcoin in the big picture. I'm going to see here. I can zoom in a little bit and see if we can't get whoops, that's not right. Well, I guess I could work off the 2-day. See if we can't get any Fibonacci extension relationships going here. So if we measure the length of the 1 projected out from the fourth wave right here, that 100% projection from the 4, right? So what I've done here is I've measured the length of the first wave, right? Projected it from the fourth. Most likely length would be 100%, which puts us around 95,000. So that's more confluence that the top would be coming in here around the $100,000 mark. So strong possibility there. We'll just have to kind of keep our eye on it and see what happens. Yeah, I'm kind of running out of things to say about it. But I think that's pretty much it. If y'all have any questions, go ahead and leave a comment down below, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Thanks.